Hello, everyone. I hope you've had an excellent day today. Hope you've had an excellent week so far. And I just want to say I look forward to being with you on Sunday. I look forward for us worshiping together. Today, you notice I'm out kind of in the garden, out working, doing some different things. Had a good day out on the lake. Been outside doing a little bit of different things today. And it kind of reminds me of our topic today, of our topic of relationships. One of the relationships that I cherish the most throughout my life, that as time goes on I cherish even more, is that relationship with my father, granddad that raised me, so I consider him my father. And I think about it as we went to the lake today to catch a few fish as I work out in the garden. Some of those things that were instilled in me as a child, even into my adulthood. And as I think about working out here in the garden, I remember times where we were doing different things out in the field together. And I just think about that relationship that we have. And so as I work with tomatoes and different things like that, I just always remember him. And but I'll just go ahead and call him Buddy. And then I remember being with them out doing things like that, and working the ground and just enjoying being outside in God's creation. Now, as we think about that, as our relationship with our Father, I want us to think about the account of the prodigal son. See, the account of the prodigal son is an amazing account to think about our relationship with our Father. See, as the prodigal son, as many of you know, that account, that story that comes from the book of Luke, we understand that the prodigal son, the son wanted all of his inheritance. He wanted God to give it, or he wanted his father to give him everything that he had. And so that's what his father does, is he gives him everything that he has. And as he does that, we see that he takes it all. And as he takes it all, he goes and he squanders it. And as he squanders it, we see him there kind of living on his own, living without having anything. And as he goes and he doesn't have anything left of his inheritance, we see him then working with a farmer there, but he's feeding the hogs. And we know how, in that time frame, that custom of that group of people was not to be associated with pigs. They were unclean animals, as the Bible tells us. And as they were unclean animals, we then see him there working with them. And to the point that he's so hungry that he says that he was even hungry enough that he would eat some of that slop. Now, I'm not sure about you, but I've been around hogs before. And I'll tell you what, they're some of the nastiest animals. They'll eat just about anything. And I've seen some of the slop that they've been fed. I don't know even if I could be hungry enough that I would even think that I could eat some of that. But that's what happens. That prodigal son does that. Well, we see he says even my father's people, even my father's servants have this better. They have a roof over their head. They have better food than I do. And yet I'm out here doing this. He says, here's what I'll do. He says, I will go and I will just go beg my father to take me back just as a servant. I don't care about my inheritance. I don't want any of that. I just want to be his servant. So he goes back. And if you look there in the book of Luke, there's something interesting to note. And this is one thing that I love about this account, that the father is watching over. I imagine the father sitting on the front porch every afternoon, every day, looking out, waiting for his son to come back. And he sees his son coming over the horizon. And if you're reading there in the book of Luke, you see what happens. The father takes out after him. He runs after him to embrace him. He embraces him. He gives him a hug. He tells his servants, he says, go get the finest clothing. Go get my signet ring. Go get and start preparing the best food. And he prepares a feast for him. Here's something we can learn. God is our Father, and he is waiting on us to come running back to him. See, that's the best part about forgiveness, is that Father, as God, gives us everything we need. And even in times that we blow our inheritance, he still says, it's okay. I still love you. Now, there's another father figure in the Bible that I want us to look at before we close today. That father figure comes from the Old Testament. That father figure is Abraham. Abraham. You think about the relationship Abraham and Isaac had. And today I want us to look at it a little differently. We think about that relationship that they have, and I want you to remember, I want you to think back to when Abraham takes Isaac for that sacrifice. You see, as he is walking up the mountain, before they get to the peak, he looks over his servants. He says, y'all stay here. He says, him and I, the boy and I, we will return back to you. He says, we will come back. The faith that Abraham had. Now, a lot of times we think about Abraham's faith, the faith of that father figure. But have we ever thought about the faith that Isaac had? I just want you to imagine that for a moment. Your father is laying you on the altar to sacrifice you. Probably thinking, what in the world? But yet he has faith in his father. I'm sure that Abraham has taught Isaac so much about God. And he has faith in God. So as Isaac brings that sword up above his head, and as he's bringing it down, we see there that God has provided a spot for him. He has provided that ram over in the bushes. And as he does that, we understand that God does provide. Two things we see from both situations, from Abraham and from the prodigal son, is God provides. He'll help us out. If we have faith in him, he will help us. You see, the prodigal son had faith in God, had faith in his father, that his father would take him back in. You see, our relationship with our fathers should be important. But most important, our relationship with God should be very important. Hebrews 11:1 says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Do you have faith in God? Do you have faith that he will help you through whatever situation comes? Do you have faith in him that at the end of this life, he will take you back home? He is waiting there with open arms to embrace you. I hope you do. I hope that you have that faith in God, that he will help you in every situation. I hope that you'll have that faith in God, that he is waiting there with open arms to run to meet you and to bring you back home. You see, our father figures in our lives are very important, just as our mothers are. And as we are getting close to Father's Day, I want you to reflect back on those fathers, the figures that have been in your life. I want us to think about them, but I want us to most importantly think about God the Father. Think about what he's done for us and how we can look to him and how that we can share his love to others. You see, that's another trait of a father. Not only do fathers provide for folks, for their children, but you see, we look to them for guidance and wisdom. And as we think about what they do for us, I want you to really think about how that they provide, number one, but how that they also guide for us. They give us those means to follow as an example, and they help everyone they come in contact with. I hope that you have an excellent day. I hope that you will reflect back on God the Father, but I hope that you will share him with others. Just as that little boy does something great, and his father does something great, he's got to go tell everyone. Let's do that with God. God our Father, let's build that relationship with him so we'll go tell everyone about him. Once again, I hope that you have an excellent weekend. I can't wait to see you on Sunday, and I hope that you will share the Father with others. Have an excellent weekend.